remember how to write an essay based on reading that is provided to you, like you have done before with your teacher? To quickly recap, I will give you a passage and ask you to write an essay where the topic will be related to the reading. For this lesson, I will give you the reading and then read it out aloud for you. After that, we will start with the essay after I give you instructions and show you the rubric. In today's society, people with physical or mental impairments have amazing opportunities to live their life to the fullest. However, life was very different for such individuals as Helen Keller. Born in the late 19th century, she became both blind and deaf at a young age. Despite her extremely limiting abilities, she learned through hard work and perseverance. She utilized her struggle to inspire disadvantaged men and women and influence changes in the way they are treated. Her passionate fight to be heard cements a place among the world's more empowering heroes. Helen Keller was born in Tuscumbia, Alabama on June 27, 1880. Her cheerful, spirited nature was apparent for the first 19 months of life. Then, disaster struck. Keller contracted a horrible fever. To the delight and relief of her parents, she recovered, but did not escape totally unscathed. The sickness had taken a terrible toll on her sight and hearing, leaving her completely blind and deaf. For the next 6 years of her life, Kellen spent her days in a dark and silent world, stranded on an island of isolation in the middle of not a sea of voices she could not hear and sights she could not perceive. Sometimes I stood between two persons who were conversing and touched their lips. I could not understand, and I was vexed, she said. Her frustration with her inability to communicate sometimes boiled to the surface of destructive and violent behavior. Though she tried everything she thought possible, nothing seemed to work. Still, Keller dreamed of having the capability to communicate and interact with the world around her. Such an achievement seemed light years away, until the Perkins Institute for the Blind dispatched a young woman named Anne Sullivan. Sullivan took on the incredible challenge of teaching Helen Keller to communicate. Keller resented her teacher's methods and fought against every attempt to civilize her, until the fabled incident in which she placed her hand under a tap and had a revelation that everything in existence has a name. Suddenly, she thirsted for knowledge. Of the challenges before her, she reflected. There were barriers still, true, but barriers that could in time be swept away. She was willing to put in vast amounts of extra work it would take to become well educated. For your introduction, you will write one paragraph. In this paragraph, you will state two issues from the readings that you found interesting. For the body, we will have two paragraphs. In these two paragraphs, you will write in detail two aspects that interested you in the passage we read. In the conclusion of one paragraph, you will sum up your final thoughts on the two matters you have already discussed. This essay will be marked out of 50 marks. You will get 10 marks each for your introduction, body, and conclusion, which is a total of 30 marks. 10 marks is for finding two issues and therefore understanding the topic. 5 marks is given for your layout, format, and length of your essay, and therefore following instructions. The remaining 5 marks is for your language use and neatness. Please write legibly. Please hand in your essays to me and write your name at the top of the page. I will quickly go over what should have been done in this essay so that you may have an idea of what was expected from you. Firstly, I would have stated my two issues in the introduction. For example, I find that being blind and deaf was the first issue, and that she hated her teacher was another issue. I would state that and explain it. For the two body paragraphs, I would have split my two interests, stated my first interest in one paragraph and my other interest in the second paragraph, while explaining why it interested me. So, What I found interesting was that she still had hope, even though she could not see and hear for so many years. It is interesting to me because I do not think that I would have hope in such circumstances. Another thing that I found interesting for the second paragraph was that she hated her teacher even though Anne was the only person who was willing to teach her. I, as a teacher, would not like to be hated by someone whom you are just trying to help. In the conclusion, I would sum up these matters by saying that it is a good thing that she persevered because she did get somewhere in life and also managed to help others. She also eventually learned from Anne Sullivan when she stopped hating her, when she had a revelation and had a thirst for knowledge.